Greetings of peace and love. My name is Ram Hotep, broadcasting on behalf of the number 13, SignsAstrology.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This particular episode, I want to honor my heroes, those examples that were there for me and that were strong when I was weak. Those particular people that were wise when I was dumb. Those particular people that had patience when I was hasty. These are the people that I want to honor today. I won't mention their names, but they know who I am and I know who they are. And we all need a hero. We all need an example. We all need a blueprint to base our lives off of and up under. And the concept of a hero is something that the Egyptians discovered. That's right, I said discovered, when they created the story of Heru. See, the Egyptians were very wise. And when you read about the stories of the different ancient Egyptian deities, what you're going to find out is that the Egyptians went to the fourth dimension and they were able to map every possible reality that a particular being, or every possible experience that a particular individual or being will encounter here in this matrix. So what I'm saying here is that the story of Aset, the story of the rebellious woman or the strong woman, the story of Set, the story of the warrior male or the power-hungry male, the story of Osiris, the story of the man that was charitable, that was giving. All of these stories are different experiences that a particular individual may go through while they're incarnated here in this flesh. And the Egyptians were wise. See, the Egyptians, what they did was that they went into the fourth dimension and they mapped out all the different possible experiences so that when they saw a particular child or a particular adult or anybody that they were dealing with some of those attributes and going through some of the experiences that those particular deities experienced in those stories, they knew how to deal with that child. Because the Egyptians, they went to the fourth dimension and they were able to map out every possible reality here in the matrix. They realized that here in the matrix is kind of like a diamond, and depending on which angle you view this diamond from will determine which color you see. Some people see red reflecting off of the diamond. Some people see yellow reflecting off of the diamond. Some people see green reflecting off of that diamond. But the bottom line is that everybody sees something different because they're standing from a different vantage point, from a different viewpoint, from a different perspective. But the Egyptians, they had an overstanding because they were able to go to the fourth dimension and look down on this reality, and they were able to map out every possible experience in this reality, and they wrote stories that were channeled from the fourth dimension that depicted different aspects of this reality. So when you go into the concept of a Heru or a Horus or a hero, this comes from ancient Egypt, because a hero is essentially a Heru. The term Heru and hero are really one and the same. Our language of English, many of our words go back to the ancient Egyptian language. So what I'm saying here is that everyone needs a hero. You're walking down this spiritual path, you need an example. You need to look up to someone that you feel like made it out. You need to look up to someone that you feel like is a little bit wiser than what you are. You need someone to be that example. So this is why every culture has a story similar to Heru. Whether you say it's plagiarized or not, that's not what I'm getting at here. This is why you have the story of Jesus. This is why you have the story of Tammuz, the story of Moses. You have these stories because these are all stories of heroes, stories of people that made it out and that were able to overcome their flesh, and they were able to overcome certain light codes. See, they were able to overcome the creation of Lucifer. The creation of Lucifer is dual. And a hero is someone, when you research the actual word, when you research it, it's a man or a woman that has superhuman human powers. What are superhuman powers? Superhuman powers are the powers that I speak of. The powers of clairvoyance, intuition, telepathy, psychometry. This is what a hero must possess if they are to be an effective leader, to be an effective example. They must be in control of their self. See, people talk about Superman and Iron Man and all of these different men, and the reason why they were such great people was because they had to have a certain level of discipline. Just like the concept of the Dark Knight, when he was trapped in that cave, Batman, the Dark Knight, and he went through a situation where he was trapped in a cave on the last movie, and he had to climb out. He was trapped in a cave that only one man survived and got out of. And he had to prove that he was a hero, or prove that he was who he says he was by climbing out of that cave. So a hero, and then those people that were in that particular prison or that cave with him, when he made it out, that gave them hope. That gave them some form of a light to look up to say that there is a way to get out of this. There is a way to make it out of this. So we all need heroes. And a hero has the hardest job, of course, because a hero has to fight. They have to go to war with powers, with the negative powers, because the evil powers, they don't want to see you make it out the matrix. They don't want to see you make it out, not because they don't want you to make it. They don't want other people to know that there's a way to make it out. So I just take this time to honor all my heroes, those men and women that went before me. I won't mention their names, but they all had such an impact on my life. All of them have such an impact on my life. Some of them taught me a lot verbally. Some of them taught me about the law and UCCs and things of that nature. Some of my teachers and heroes taught me about astrology, numerology, things of that nature. Some of my heroes taught me about relationships. But they all were there for me when I didn't know anything. When basically I felt like I was a nobody, they saw potential in me. And they watched over me until I got to a point where I can watch over myself. And now I'm getting to a point where I can begin to help to watch over other people. But I'm just making this video to let those particular teachers I've had out there know that even though we've had our differences, because I mean I've had many teachers, and sometimes guys, when you have teachers and you have heroes in general, and they watch over you as a child and they look over you until you get to the point where you can look after yourself, a lot of times they become possessive. They might not want to let you go. And this is because even though they're your hero and they have these superhuman abilities, we're all still human. We're all still locked into this body and locked into this flesh, and we get attached. We get possessive. People do it in relationships. Sometimes you don't want to let your lover go. It may be time for your lover to leave. See, people fail to realize a lot of relationships are temporary. Some relationships aren't forever, unless you're with your twin flame or somebody that you signed up to spend your life with. But some relationships aren't forever. Even if you're with your twin flame, it's not physically forever, because nothing in this matrix is forever. It's all changing. And a lot of times people can't understand that, so when they meet a lover and they really love them, they hold them tight and dearly, and when it's time for that person to go, for whatever reasons, they hold them back. They supplant them. They don't want to see them grow. And a lot of times your teachers, you may call them your teachers or your heroes, they can do this. So I've had differences with, some of my heroes, but I still look at them as a hero. I still look up to you as a hero. Even though we may have had differences, it can't take away from the wisdom that you imparted to me. It can't take away from the example that you were to me. So I overlook all of the BS, all the petty BS, people trying to control and tell you what to do or what not to do. Because, many times your heroes will do that. But at the end of the day, it's just about really just getting the best from them. And the bullshit, just leave that. That's pretty much how it is. Everybody has a certain amount of bullshit associated with them. And you got to know that. The bullshit, just leave that. Just take the best. And it's important that you have male heroes and female heroes, whether you're a male or not. You should have, if you're a female, you should have men that you look up to as an example. And many women do. And if you're a man, you should have women that you look up to. And men have a problem with this. But you should have women that you look up to as an example, because you have a nature in you that's feminine as well as masculine. So I've had female teachers and male teachers. Like I had a female teacher to tell me that every time I go to a new level, I'm going to meet a new devil. She would always say that, Brother Rob, with new levels come new devils. So I've had female teachers that were older than me. I've had male teachers. I've even had female teachers actually that were younger than me, that I didn't have sex with, that I didn't go into, and it taught me a lot. So it's important that you know your nature, you honor your nature, and you embrace the male teachers as well as the female teachers. Don't be sexist, guys, and just think that you can only learn from a male, because your first teacher really essentially was your mother. The first person you saw, the first person you started to watch and observe, your first hero was your mother. Why? Because your mother had superhuman powers. She fits the definition. She was your defender, and she watched over you. You know she had superhuman powers because she brought your ass here. Every time a baby is born, it's a miracle. Every time a baby is born, it's a miracle, because that woman literally has to sacrifice her body to bring that child here. So listen to what I'm saying. She has to sacrifice her body every time. Blood is shed every time a birth or a child comes into this world. So your mother is your first hero. I should have started out this video talking about that, but it's cool because this is just a tribute. So that's your first hero. Now, lastly, I want to talk about, then I'll shut this video down, your heroes on a fourth dimensional plane. You see, you have ancestors. You should all have an ancestor that you look up to as a hero. What I mean by ancestor is that a particular person, like whether it's a grandparent, a brother, a mother, someone that may not be here in the body, but that you look up to, and this is your example. And you have to remember your ancestors, or they won't remember you. So you have to pour libations. So I want to pour libations and say Ashe. This is straight up alkaline, baby. Fiji water, straight alkaline. I want to say Ashe to my grandpa Amos. I want to say Ashe to him, because that's my hero on the fourth dimension. That's my male hero on the fourth dimension, is my grandpa Amos. My female hero is my grandmother Fanny. I want to say Ashe to her. And they were married, my grandmother and grandfather. These are my heroes. These are my examples on the fourth dimension. I know people are like, how would you have a hero or an example on the fourth dimension when they're not here? Well, what you're going to find out is that your heroes on a fourth dimension are probably even more important than the heroes that you have here on this dimension, because these are your ancestors. This is the line that you chose to incarnate through. These are the individuals that you chose to come through to get here. So these are individuals that you must honor, because these are the individuals that are responsible for giving you your body, your DNA traits, all the things that are all your ancestors and things of that nature, and beings that may be in your aura and things like that. All of this can be found in your DNA. It can be found in your DNA, and you have good attributes that your ancestors may have, or your heroes may have, and then you may have negative attributes. So what you have to remember is that when you start working with your heroes in the fourth dimensional realm, you want to study their natures. And say, for instance, you want to know as to whether or not they may have had a drinking problem, or smoking problem, or problem with drugs, or something like that. You want to know that because when you begin to work with them, there's a possibility that you may take on some of those attributes. You may take on some of their problems. So when you start working with them, you want to know their nature, know everything about them, and you want to take the good stuff. Same thing I told you with the physical, those particular entities on the physical plane. They're going to have good attributes about them, but then they're going to have negative attributes. So what you got to remember when you have a hero, and I know people, this may be common sense, but it's not, because we see it every day. People worship people. They worship people to a point when they see that person doing something that they don't like, or something that they may consider negative, then all of a sudden that person falls off the throne being their hero. And that's not, see, if a person's your hero, you are to study the positive traits that person may have, as well as the negative traits. And you are to accept all of it. And then you can't dismiss that person from being your hero just because they're demonstrating a part of their character that you don't like. See, that's what happens. Like, that's religion. That's religion. A person, you can't do that, because in religion, they teach on this whole concept of perfection. See, they teach that Christ was perfect because he didn't do any wrong, but Christ wasn't perfect because he didn't do any wrong. Christ was perfect and became a good hero because he knew himself to a point where he knew himself so good that he was able to walk this path and walk and live in this life, and you thought he was perfect because he knew himself so good. So he didn't make a lot of mistakes, meaning that he didn't go outside of himself a lot. So that's something that you want to remember. Your heroes are not going to always be this kind. They're not going to be perfect in what you see as perfect. And if you judge them, you just basically create negative karma for yourself. And if your teachers and your heroes judge you, they're creating negative karma for yourself. But the concept of a hero is something that it's an image that we need in the Matrix. It's a blueprint that we need in the Matrix. It's very necessary. Like I said, you are to choose heroes of a masculine nature and a feminine nature. You are to choose heroes that may have passed over into the next realm. So you don't want all of your heroes to be physical. But having heroes is something that's important. I just wanted to make this video to kind of just pay honor and homage to my heroes. I know I didn't really name them, but let's just say I'll give them names. My male hero is a brother by the name of Brother L. My feminine hero or my female hero is a sister by the name of Sister Muhammad. And their names, they have other names, but these are the names that I will give them. And Brother L taught me a lot. Sister Muhammad taught me a lot. Brother L taught me a lot about knowledge and truth and more science. Sister L taught me a lot about relationships, how to deal with women. See, men don't really know how to deal with women when you're in a relationship, though, and you're conscious. Because if you're conscious in your relationship, there's a certain way that you are to deal with a female that may not be on the same exact conscious level as you are. A lot of men, they like to knock women and down women when they might not be on that level that they're on. And Sister Muhammad taught me how to deal with a woman. See, she taught me that a woman is not going to really listen to a lot of what you have to say when it comes to teaching her. She may remember it, but she's going to look at your actions and look at your example strictly. See, a male, they're going to listen to your words and they're going to learn from the things that you have to say, in addition to maybe your actions and your example. But a female, most of her learning comes from action, example. She'll listen to the words that you have to say just to challenge you in what you're saying, to see what you're made of. Because once you get a female to really submit to you, she'll do anything for you. You can get any woman to eat a certain kind of way and things of this nature if you are a good example. And that's what a lot of males, they haven't learned that lesson. See, a lot of males, they don't live by example. We talk. A male is a talker, a thinker. So we constantly talking, but you have to live that life. See, females, they want to know if you're about that life. And if you're about that life, then they'll follow you and they'll submit to you. See, a female, she's willing to give herself to you. She wants to, actually, but she's not going to give herself to somebody that's weak, somebody that's a bullshitter, somebody that doesn't stick to their word. That's why, like Scarface, and like he was right when he said, all you got in this world as a man is your balls and your word. Your women know that. You know what I'm saying? Women know that. You better definitely know what you're doing in the sexual department. If you want to keep a woman, you better keep your word. Better keep your word. And if you do that, you'll become a hero to that woman. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down. I thank you guys for listening and watching. This is just a tribute to my heroes, those living and dead. Thank you for helping me. I wouldn't be here on YouTube and doing any of the things that I'm doing without my heroes. Those that, and you know who you are. Some of you watch my videos. I love you all, even though we may have differences. Even my friends. I've had friends that are my heroes. I love all of you. Definitely love all of you. And I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing if it wasn't for my heroes. I thank you for listening. I thank you for watching. And until we meet again, peace.